This is a Lazy Teacher Podcast.
Welcome back to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. My name is Brian Pulowski. This is episode 37, Mouse and Weens. My guest for this episode came from just being a fan. I've been a huge fan of Mouse and Weens for a long time now. They're my go-to show to hit up when I just want to laugh and kick back. Every time I listen to these ladies just banter in their show, I honestly feel like I'm just sitting right next to them. So it just seemed natural. And I reached out to Mouse, said, hey, what's up? Let's put something together. She was equally excited about it. She's a fan of this show. It just seemed to work out perfectly. Like all of our personalities just meshed well. We had a great time. I honestly, I can't even remember all the topics that we hit on. I know we talked about gardening. Mouse is way into gardening. Weens is hysterical with her stories about dating and life and being a musician and working in the film industry. She's just rad. Both these women, so rad. I had a killer time hanging out with them. I know you guys are going to enjoy it. So strap in, kids, because it's about to go down. Mouse and Weens. You know, the first thing we got to get out of the way is, why was Weens farting so much last episode?
Oh, no. What is that? That's totally not true. That actually is
That is absolutely true. And you kept blaming it on the chair. I don't buy it.
My cat was on my lap, and I am very embarrassed to say, she's actually right here. It's hard. She has gas. It was not me. It's embarrassing. That's why I don't have many dates. It's the cat, but I can't get rid of her. So, okay, next question.
Just kidding. Moving right along.
When I get nervous, I eat a lot of cheese.
That chains right into, so, Weens, what's it like knowing that you're going to end up being an old cat lady?
Oh my gosh! Oh no!
Rough. Was that too early? Was that too early? Too soon?
Let me go get some salt. I'm just gonna pour some in my wounds quickly and get this launched. No, actually, I'm very comfortable with that idea. I've become secure in the idea that if that's a possibility, then that's fine. I really do enjoy cats. They don't talk back. They keep you warm at night. It's fine. Completely
They
happy.
Listen.
They step on your computer and turn it off. All right.
Well,
all right, wait.
Obviously, I'm only joking, but it does seem like every episode you have this wonderful story about dating, and it never seems to go well for you.
Terrible.
Is it bad taste? Do you have bad taste in men?
I think probably a little bit of that. Well, there's periods, there's chapters. So if you were to look at the last chapter of the book, I think I was on the narcissist phase. And that was not good. I think I was like, oh, I should try out this. People talk about those charismatic bad boys. And I tried that. And basically, they're just grandiose. I don't know. They really, I think
you always say the word blow hard.
Blow hard windbags, I like to say. So the ones that are like pseudo, like, blah, 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 here's the real reason that the universe is the way it is. Oh, everyone sit down. Yeah. Those guys, you're like, oh, really? Okay.
Oh, really? This should be good. Let me sit down for this. You had the quote of the episode last time, Weens. You said something about how everybody's always ear humping you.
Oh God, just the ear hump. Have you ever been ear humped for like 2.5 hours? It's raw. It's vulnerable. Yeah.
I about spit out my drink when I heard that. It was so funny. I was like, oh my sweet Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Has that happened? Are women like that too? Like, have you?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Really?
Well,
are we doing it right now?
Yeah.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I would say that probably most men are blowhards, but I think a lot of women do like to talk. If I could just be rude for a second. I think guys like to talk about themselves more, and they could probably go on about boring subjects, but I think a generality is I think a lot of women, especially when they get together, they just chatter a lot. It sounds like a hen house. It can be irritating.
True story. What do they talk like? What's your observation? Is it surface level conversation, or is it
surface level? It's all insecurity. It seems like.
I want to like train those girls up and be like, all right, come on.
I know.
Get real.
Is it low
self-esteem thing too?
Yeah.
Is it low self-esteem, or what do you think it is?
Yeah, I think low self-esteem is a big one. And I don't know if you were to trace it back to like the suffrage movement, if you want to go that far back. But, I guess women have generally been a little bit more, kind of oppressed a little bit more. So maybe in doing that, they've just felt less on the even playing field, a little more insecure overall. And I think they're starting to come into themselves. We've had movements, we've had the 60s. We've had our suffrage movement voting. Everybody got quiet all of a sudden. Is anyone else there?
No, I'm listening.
I'm really interested in this.
No, you're making a solid point.
Yeah, I mean,
I have.
Right? Go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say I have different views too. I feel like women are kind of competitive in like a weird primal sense. We all have this instinct to compete for men, our cavemen who are going to protect us and give us food and shelter and all this stuff, so that we get competitive and check each other out and need to talk about cutesy surfacey things and look cutesy surfacey to get the guy. I don't know. I feel like there's just some instinctual thing there that we need to break, though. It's like we need to be conscious of that and get past that and support each other and get through it. And,
see, I don't find that as much, but I haven't hung out with a lot of groups of women that are more catty like that. I don't know why, or did you?
Me? Yeah. But it's, like I said, it evolves. I think as women get older, they realize that's all BS and they get past it. So now my friends are kind of like a fine wine. Like I've curated my little friend group to be the real girls, the real people, and we don't get caught up in that BS. So it's nice. But you hang out with other groups that you're not so used to, and they can get into hair and makeup and so-and-so said this and do-do-do. And it's so silly. I just look at it and go, girls, come on.
I don't see. I must hang out. I hang out with a bunch of dudes on the film set, so maybe I don't see it as much. What about you, Brian? In the workplace, do you get that?
I think Mouse made a really good point. I think it does have a lot to do with like evolutionary coming up. I would almost argue though that men are more competitive just because I think we had to compete to get the women. It had to be, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm bigger, I can, hunt bigger things, or I'm better at this. Because, I guess I would imagine back in the day, you wanted to find a man that was literally going to provide for you, not just, I don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say women probably. Typically, a long time ago, men were the hunters. Women took care of the camp, which also included going down to get water, wash clothes, wash everything. And I think that was kind of like a community time for women where they had to talk. And I think that was kind of the way of figuring out what's happening in the tribe, is to almost get to like a level of gossiping so you can figure out what's happening within everybody, because I don't think men... I don't just think that's really much of a natural thing that men have, but I think it's inherently, I think it's a good thing that women do have that. It's definitely needed a long time ago.
I like that.
But at work,
hang out with my friends down by the stream, and we do discuss Utek's new hairstyle and whether he looked at me today.
When you go down to the stream, when you go down to wash your clothes at the stream.
Yeah, she takes the kids to school and then goes to the stream. It's very strange, but very connected to your roots. Congratulations. She can do it all.
It's very primal. Goes down her loincloth.
Yeah, she does. She wears a loincloth and a jock strap, which doesn't make any sense. But, we'll talk about that later. It gets
caught up in my armpit hair sometimes, but, I brush it aside.
Yeah.
It works.
It's, what do you think of that? Have you ever dated a girl with armpit hair?
Oh boy.
I did. That's actually a really good question. I did. I went to college in kind of a hippie town up in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a mountainous. It was it's kind of like a hippie town.
Yeah,
and for sure, I dated my share of granola, hairy,
and did that
dreadlock women. No, I'm like super earth loving kind of person. Like I think I don't know how attractive that is to me. I definitely don't. I don't know that I even give a second look to a woman that doesn't shave, but I don't know if it's necessarily my thing. I just think like if you're not going to take that extra step to for hygiene, maybe other hygiene's going to be a little bit off.
That's so weird because someone today was talking about dreadlocks and they were talking about fish fans. And this guy was saying his first girlfriend ended up doing heroin with a bunch of fish fans and she fell asleep. He was in love with her, finally got a date with her. They went to this guy's house. They listened to fish. It was all the fish people. She ended up like nodding off on the toilet. And he said that was the time when I decided I would never try heroin and never date that girl again. But he said she also had really smelly dreadlocks. And then I thought about it. And I guess it would be how do you wash dreadlocks? You don't?
You do. Once they're tight, then you can wash them. But yeah, as you want them to start to nap up, you don't wash them. You want the natural oils to kind of bond the that's coming from a guy that shaves his head. So it's not like I know much about hair, but I do remember. I do remember some women that,
those were the days.
Well, you got a little bit of a tree hugger side to you, huh, Weens?
I do. I actually did.
Does.
I do. And I hugged trees the other day because I really literally felt compelled to hug an oak tree. I was walking in Griffith Park.
What?
Would you stop?
That's cute.
But I really do believe that there's energy in trees. And there's a wonderful TED Talk about the communication of trees. They actually do communicate with each other. They warn each other of disease when there's white beetles, for example, and the other ones will shrink up their roots so there's a whole communication in the forest. It's not just a trippy thing. Get hip.
I like this.
With the trees.
Being the garden lady, I really like this. I want to do a whole thing on trees. So that's good.
I will send you that podcast. Okay, now for let me find one question. Brian.
Okay.
Did you get along pretty well with your parents?
Yes, my parents are awesome. My parents are still married, and my parents live maybe 10 minutes away from me. My sister lives right next door to me. My brother lives 5 houses down, and another one of my sisters lives, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes away. We all live real close. We're like super, super close family.
Holy moly.
That just never happens.
Amazing.
How did that happen?
Wow.
Is it because you love them so much that you just didn't see a need to, or did people go move away and come back?
Well, I'm the youngest of 5, so the kids left and went to college and split. And then I was the last one. And then when I went away to college in Arizona, my parents left Orange County, where I grew up in southern Orange County, and they moved out to a little town called Murrieta, which is where I'm at now. And they moved out here and they bought big old 5-acre ranch. And then as we all kind of like found our, special person, we all kind of came back together and moved close to each other, and so here we are.
That's so cute.
Isn't that neat?
For me?
That's beautiful. Are you married now?
I'm happily divorced.
Oh, really? Is this recent? Do you want to talk about it?
No, I'll talk. Yeah, no, nothing's off limits. I was married for 10 years. I have 2 awesome kids, and then just things weren't working out in the marriage, and so we got a divorce. And then now I have the most killer girlfriend, and she has 2 kids, and her kids are pretty much identical age and sex to my kids. So the boys are pretty much the same age. They're best friends, and her daughter is the same age as my daughter pretty much. And
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's rad. Yeah. So now we have his and hers in one big house. It's cool.
That's fun.
That
Little
is
Brady
so
Bunch action. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
That's fun.
That's
And
amazing.
you're still in the same town, like you do joint custody and the kids kind of go back and forth kind of thing?
No, fortunately, we're in separate towns. Yes. I said I'm happily divorced. I didn't say.
Yeah, this lady sounds like a piece of work.
How dare you say that? How dare you?
I know. I have this. I'm using my psychic powers.
You do have some psychic powers.
I do. Here's my next psychic question, because I just had this. Do you play guitar, and did you recently learn a song by the Stone Temple Pilots or Soundgarden?
Oh my God. No, I didn't.
Oh my God, I thought I was right. Are you serious? God,
Okay, hold on.
That was me.
freaking
You got
nailed
confused
that.
with me.
I was going to say
okay.
Sublime. I was going to say Sublime originally.
Full disclosure, I actually over the summer was trying to teach myself guitar.
Were you?
Nice. Look at that.
That is the truth. I have a very obsessive personality, and I pick up things and I get super obsessed with them for a while, and then I end up getting proficient at it, and then I just like move on to something else fun. And the guitar is the one thing that I've just never been able to do. I have 2 acoustic guitars that I've been trying to learn how to play for easily 8 years, and I just can't do it. I think I need to sit with like a private instructor or something. I just don't have the patience to do it myself. What made you think of that?
a tough one.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I just had a weird, I was trying my psychic abilities that they're not quite developed yet, but I sort of hit on something.
I was just listening to your episode, Brian, with the piano teacher, and you mentioned the guitar too, so that was kind of funny.
Oh, so I guess I
Just was listening to it.
could.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing you bring up, Mouse. That is easily the most questionable episode I've ever put out. I debated whether to even put that one out.
I wondered. The chemistry was really interesting in the beginning. And
right?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Why?
How did you guys meet? Was it just over like podcast connections? You guys all started talking or what?
I guess a fan of my show, so I'm not trying to definitely not trying to put down any of my fans, but reached out to me, said, hey, I'd love to be on the show someday. Love your show. First off, I'd love to be on it sometime. I'm a teacher too. Cool. What do you teach? Well, I teach piano. Whoa, that'd be awesome. I'd love to have you on the show. Boom. So we lined it up to do it. And just to put it politely, he had a super quirky personality. And I just didn't, I don't know, just things didn't quite click as we were talking. I tried to make it as best I can, but like you said, it was super awkward in the beginning. And
that was funny. No, it was interesting. I just kind of sat there on the edge of my seat waiting to see how you were going to recover. And you were very gracious and it was great. So it worked out. But that one little joke that didn't fly was kind of funny.
Yeah, there was a couple things he'd say, and then I was just like silent. I'm like, I don't even know how to respond. I'm like, dude, I'm just asking you a question.
Like, how would that work in a bar if you sat down next to that guy?
Can you tell me one of them?
No.
Or what's one of the?
I forget what it was. It was something about like, how many years have you been playing? And he was young, but you couldn't tell. So you were like, well, I don't know how old you are. I've never met you. And the kid was like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
But his initial response was like almost like rude. Like it was, I don't remember verbatim, but it was something like, so how long have you been playing for? A year? What? Or maybe that's a bad example. It was something like that. And then he did another one like later on where I even said, I'm like, dude, I don't even know you. Like, I'm just asking you a question. And he's like, oh, I don't know.
Right.
I just thought, it was awkward.
I know. It was a very socially awkward attempt at humor.
That's my whole life. My whole life.
All walks of life enter our lives, and it's fun to figure out how to navigate it, right? Like, there's teachers. So I work at the school, sort of. I don't get paid. I'm a volunteer, but I'm at a school, and there's teachers that some are super gregarious and outgoing and fun and full of life, and then others are, they'd rather, hang out in the corner and not talk to anybody, but they're great with the kids. So it's just funny to navigate all the personalities and I don't know, sort of the workplace, but then out in the real life and then doing the podcast thing. So it'll be an interesting journey to see who we bump into. But
that's something that's something I wanted to ask you, Mouse. Is it weird as a parent to volunteer at a school? Like, all I know is being a teacher on the campus. Is it weird as a parent to like see, I don't know if there's like the other side of teachers, but I think parents have like one perception of how teachers are, but I could only imagine if you're a volunteer at a school, you have to see the flip side of how teachers are too. Like, do you see that? Yes. or not quite?
Well, yeah, I have 3 kids, and now my youngest is 2nd grade. So I've, volunteered since the big ones were little. And in the beginning, I was very shy, just like, oh, whatever the teacher wants. I'll sharpen these pencils and I'll just sit quietly in the corner, and I don't want to disrupt them. And they have a whole agenda. And wow, I was just in awe of teachers, how they can do this. And I just didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And then as time went on, you get to know the teachers a little bit better and you feel a little more comfortable. And then they start to treat you a little bit more like a peer. So you can kind of have little jokes with them and this and that. But there's still this like level of seniority. Like, they're the teacher. They call the shots. Well, now I volunteer so much. I'm like, right up there with the PTA president or whatever. I'm just always on campus. And, there's big signs that say, volunteers not allowed in the teacher conference area, but they're like, oh, well, you can come in. You're like a teacher, because I'm just there teaching in the garden all the time. So now I walk this weird line of half teacher, half parent. And it's really interesting. So I get half the gossip on this side, half the gossip on that side.
But
and
you're
then
also
I
probably
stay in
less
Switzerland.
red tape too, right?
Oh, yeah. And then I can do kind of what I'd like because, I have no one to report to. I don't have hours. It's a cool gig. Luckily, I don't necessarily need the paycheck. But it's a lot of hours.
Well, how nice for you.
Well, right. It just happened to be that way. Yeah, but anyway, long story short, it's really fun. Teachers are very cool, and I just bow down to them. I bow down to you, Brian. You're amazing. I don't know how you do it all day, every day.
That's so true, Mouse. I am amazing.
You are amazing. Wait,
I'm humble too, apparently.
Yeah, and you took the whole summer off. Like, you really just didn't do the podcast. You really relaxed all summer.
I just chilled. Right? Yeah, that was my time. The truth of it is, I needed it. I really needed it. I think I mentioned it in previous episodes, but I got really close to quitting. I got really close. Yeah. I was talking to my parents about it. I was running it by anybody that had an open ear, but I was like, I thought I was done. That was a rough year last year, and it wasn't fair to the kids.
What made you feel that way?
It's a good question. It was my third year in kindergarten, and the first 2 years for the first year of kindergarten, I'd come down from fifth grade, and I'd been doing fifth grade for about 10 or 12 years. Went to kindergarten. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. How did I not do this sooner? Loved the first year. Second year was amazing, and then I don't know what happened the third year, but it was just rough. The kids are kids, they're the same. They're amazing, and I just found myself like losing my patience for them, and that was like the telltale sign. I'm like, these kids do not deserve their teacher to be like impatient and frustrated with them, and I really hope that they never notice, because I tried to love on them as much as I possibly can, despite my frustration, but it was tough. Like, I'd go home just like beaten. I was just so frustrated. I was having like mini breakdowns in the classroom. Aww, that's so bad to say. Looking back on it now, it's horrible to say. Like, I would have to I'd have to turn around and take like a deep breath and just go, okay, I can get through this. The day is almost over. And it was nothing. The kids weren't doing anything that kids shouldn't be doing. They're 5, 6 years old. They're supposed to be hyper. They're supposed to be talking. They're supposed to be out of control. Like, they're supposed to be having fun at school. That's what I wanted. And for some reason last year was just rough. I couldn't do it.
I wonder if it was just did you do something different that year where you like worked back to back, or there was additional stress in your life, or?
That's a good question. No, not necessarily. I don't think nothing was abnormal, nothing really, but I don't know. I took the whole summer off. I didn't really do anything. I didn't do any school planning. I'm in a new grade level doing second grade. I dropped a whole bunch of responsibilities that I had at school, so I'm stoked.
Second grade's the best. That's when I peaked. I really stick to that. Second grade was amazing. We just read like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and all these amazing. We read The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and that was my favorite class.
Really? Who was your second grade teacher?
Mrs. Walkenberg. She was beautiful. She had a couple of different last names. I think she got married and divorced, like within that one. But she was beautiful, and she'd let us sit on her lap, and we get to play with her hair. She was more like a princess teacher. And
what kind of teacher was this? No, I'm kidding.
I know. Come sit on my lap.
This is before.
That sounds like my daughter's teacher right now. She is like that too. She has like, thick blonde long hair, and she dresses like Alice in Wonderland, and the girls all clamor to hold her hand as they walk down the hall, and wears dresses and just red lipstick. She's so pretty. She looks like a Disney princess, but she's kind of like no BS. She lays it all out. So I was impressed at back to school night. She really like kind of scared me straight.
Wow.
So.
Really? That's cool.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a really fun grade though. I think the kids, I would imagine from my friend teaches first grade, but first and second grade, they're so receptive. They're still sweet, and right?
I think so. Yeah, that was the idea. Is I was given the opportunity to move out of kindergarten to go wherever I want. And at this point, I've almost taught every grade level. And I didn't want to go up too high because I didn't want to deal with the drama again. Although I love the older kids. They get my jokes. They get my sarcasm. But there's also like the drama with it. And I wanted the sweet and innocent kid. So like second grade seemed like it was just like the perfect grade because it's not a testing grade in California, which is a big thing. And yeah.
So now let me ask you this one thing. If you could create any program for any of the kids and you had all the funding in the world and all the support, what would be like a legacy program you'd want to create?
Ooh.
No pressure.
Wow.
Answer now. No.
Earth science.
What?
Something with earth science.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, for sure. I don't know how we do it, but some sort of earth science where you can apply earth science to all the grade levels. It'd be an outside curriculum, so it couldn't happen where I teach. But if there was somewhere where you can go, I mean, if I have all the money and I have all the means, then I would have like a 100-acre school where it's all of ours and we go out and study and, whatever, math is under the oaks and language arts is going to happen at that.
I smell a collaboration, or at least you should go to Mouse's Garden and be like a guest that comes in and talks a little more about the earth sciences within the...
Yeah, I got to hear more about these gardens, Mouse, because our school was supposed to have gardens and we're looking for someone to like be the lead on it. We have like...
Awesome.
I'm not sure how much it is. I want to say we have 300 square feet of area that it's like the district has already approved it for irrigation and whatever. We just don't have anyone to like lead it. You know what I mean? So what do you do?
Yeah.
Plants and stuff.
This is my passion, my other passion besides podcasting. So I was brought in, a teacher saw that kids were eating such cruddy snacks during school, and she had a passion for nutrition. So she's like, let's start a garden, get kids eating healthy, learn where everything comes from. And she teaches third grade, so does a whole curriculum with the Native Americans in San Diego, the Kumeyaay. I don't know what you guys do in Murrieta. Is it the same? Because we're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, for what? It's grade specific or what?
Third grade, Kumeyaay, just like Native American. It's just social studies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, second grade, third grade,
she saw this
Native Americans.
Yeah. And so we had a little area. I don't know how big ours is. It might be about the same size. And got some funding, got donations, and she just sort of blasted the school with, hey, who likes gardening? Who wants to help me start this? So it really was a teacher lead. And she got the okay from the principal and the district, and they were just ready to go as soon as they had the manpower. And we started up like 3 or 4 years ago. I got on that email thing right away because I like gardening just for fun. And it's been a blast.
All right, but can I just interject here quickly? Because she is so humble, but you've won like tons of awards for greatest volunteer, like 3 different volunteer awards.
The greatest volunteer
in the world. She's the greatest showman for the garden. No, really. I saw
my hat to you.
This is the greatest show.
She's the greatest garden. She can grow plants like no one.
She is the greatest mouse.
Mouse in the garden. It doesn't make sense because she kills those things. Sorry.
Yeah, I hate the mice. What the hell?
Yeah.
But no, thank you, Weens. It's good. I know. I like it, and it's fun. It kind of is my little thing, and I do light up, and I don't get nervous, and it's fun. I love it. So I encourage you, Brian, to do it because we take math out in the garden, we take English and social studies out in the garden. We started a native trail. We got a big grant. We wrote a big grant, and we kind of plowed down this whole area, and we planted all these native plants, and we just installed all these Kumeyaay Native American things and burn wood.
Weren't you trying to attract
the language and the numbers?
Raptors or condors or something?
Yeah. Not quite condors. They're more like, they're kestrels. They're tiny little birds of prey, but we have a little box that we got from some conservation group that, they're trying to save the sparrowhawks or American kestrels. So awesome. We have a box. We're waiting for them to come along, and we do all sorts of stuff. It's the best. So and we do a lot of earth sciences. Like we learned all about rocks and, dirt. We're always working with fertilizer, and we grow all the vegetables, and now we put it into and worms. We do worms. We put the food into the cafeteria, and the kids get to actually plant the seed, take care of the plant, harvest the plant, walk it over to the cafeteria, and then they eat it on the lunch line that day.
No way.
It's super duper fun. Yeah, it's awesome. And so kids that have never, there's so many kids, they've never eaten a tomato. They don't know what broccoli looks like when it grows. They're kids that have never played in the dirt. I had a couple kids say, well, I'm not allowed to play in the dirt. What do I do with the shovel? Like they literally didn't know how to play in the dirt because they grew up in an apartment or in a different country where everything was cement. They've never had a yard. So it's cool. It's super inspiring and I love it. So I encourage every school to do it. And there's tons of resources out there.
But you're also creating a curriculum for it. So you can even hand it off to other people to follow, right?
Yeah, slowly but surely. We're 4 years in, and each year I put a new set of lessons into, sort of a binder system so that when I leave, it can be something that people can pick up and run with. But we do a little bit different than everybody else out there does. Like everyone wants to teach 30 kids this one thing for an hour out in the garden. Well, that doesn't really work. Kids don't have the attention span. They want to move around. They're outside. There's bugs. There's stuff to look at. So we've created centers instead. So they have 15 minutes at 3 different centers. And we do a nutrition center. We do an actual working in the garden. You're either planting or pulling or picking or looking for bugs, a real hands-on center. And then we do a science center. So, and I've done 6 a year, then I went down to 5 a year. Now I'm at 4 a year. I'm really trying to ease off this thing because I'm spending every day there. But I want to make it independent so that it can live once I'm gone too. And we have, like today I trained, I think we had 60 volunteers show up to help with all their kids' classes. So I trained 60 volunteers in the garden and we're ready to roll. I just have to kind of rethink up all the lesson plans and start getting the first ones out there. So yeah, we'll do pumpkins and all the cool fall stuff, and we do arts and crafts. It's super fun. It's
excited.
So cute.
I want to be a part.
Yeah, dude, join me. The first and second graders too. That's like the wheelhouse of excitement in the garden. So Brian, you guys, if you start one, your kids will just go ape. They'll love it. It'll be great. So
I love that idea. Is it self-sufficient or is it requiring you to be there every day?
I don't have to be there every day, but it does take one coordinator, be it a teacher or a volunteer or maybe a hired gardener, to kind of oversee what's being planted, when it's being planted, how often you fertilize it. There's, a lot of element, the weather. Do I need to put a shade over it? Do I need to put, a white cloth over it to keep the bugs out? All that stuff needs to kind of be overseen by one kind of main person, in my opinion. Well, not master necessarily. That's like a whole program in and of itself. That's like through the UC system. But this would just be somebody who knows gardening, who can kind of keep tabs on things, get the plants that you need. And right now I'm kind of that person. And then once I create the curriculum, hopefully that can live on its own and people can add to it and take away from it. But
who's tending to the garden as far as like irrigation and just basic overall like cleaning?
Yeah, we have it on a drip system that's all automated. I kind of check it and make sure everything's working the way it should. And when it doesn't, if we have a leak or something, we happen to have a community volunteer. He's just a dude that lives in the area, and he used to do irrigation for a living. And he took it on himself that he wanted to help out all the school gardens. So we can just call him and he'll come down. As long as we pay for supplies, he'll fix whatever we need fixed. And he's amazing, and he's just like a nice guy. And so that's kind of cool. So it does take dynamite. Like that. Yeah, it takes that outreach. You really have to,
Brian, it sounds like, sorry, I cut you off, but
no.
That you'll probably have a lot of people step up as volunteers if you just get it, like one person getting it going, right? Is that sort of
I think you're right, Weens. I mean, the way that Mouse is explaining it, it makes a lot of sense. It seems a little bit easier than I thought it would be to take on. Like, Like, the district literally did come in and leveled out area for our garden. And then the lady that was going to run this gardening, club or gardening thing at our school ended up retiring or moving, and now we don't have anyone. She's a sweetheart. Her name's Miss Emmanuel. It could be me. Would you say?
Would you want to take on another hat? You were the IT guy for a while, and you just kind of
yes, Mouse. I was the IT, and even though I've stepped down and I'm not getting paid to do it, I still do it. I still get hit up by everybody because I did it so long. Everybody just comes to me, and so yes, I've stepped down for many roles, and then I've ended up picking up a lot of new roles. And in fact, one of them, and I wrote this down in a little note as you were talking, one of the roles that I picked up on this year inadvertently, I didn't really want to, but is like a PE coordinator. So I went to a PE coordinator meeting yesterday for our school and for the district.
Awesome.
And we were posed with a question. That's what I want to ask you ladies. How do we teach kids the benefits of healthy activity and nutrition when the parents aren't necessarily 100% on board with that? For example, the kids in our area, they kind of lower income families. So because they're lower income, it's very cheap to go to the store and just buy hot Cheetos and Takis and crap. So the kids come and they get fed crap, and then they feel like crap, and they perform like crap, and then they look like crap, and they don't even know how to move their body efficiently during PE. Like, can barely even jog type of thing. So there's my question to you.
Epidemic. Yeah.
It's a huge epidemic.
I mean, there's a ton of depression, and there's a lot of big issues in the world. And sorry, not to take it away from teaching, we can go, but it's a lot of it starts with more sleep, more exercise, and more rest or meditation or whatever you may do for that. So sleep, exercise. No, there's something else I'm not thinking. Probably. Oh, food.
Well,
sorry, food. Yeah, what you eat. That's what we were just talking about. Food, exercise, sleep is the foundation for a lot of, we need to do that to get ourselves started. And that will take away a lot of anxiety, depression.
Exactly.
That's right.
I think a good nutrition would change so much in people, and even, well, I mean, you definitely have to change your physical activity and be active more. I mean, there's little things that you can do to improve that, but nutrition is where I think it all starts. I mean, if you're feeding your body crap, you're just going to feel like crap and you're going to look like crap. And I don't necessarily buy the whole argument of it's cheaper to buy crappy food. Well, I suppose because it's already pre-made and it's pre-wrapped, and you just undo that little plastic sleeve and put it in your fat mouth, and then I guess it's cheaper, but vegetables and vegetables and fruit are pretty cheap. I mean,
it's true. It's kind of the trend is like, so everyone's becoming so lazy, right? It's so convenient just to grab something and throw it in the bag. And I'm guilty of it too. I do it with my kids because I'm like running late and I'm busy with this, that, and the other. And so I just grab the stuff from Costco and stick it in there. And hopefully I've made okay choices at Costco, but probably not. But I don't know. I was just thinking when we were kids, I don't know how old you are, Brian, but we grew up in the age where there were so many little commercials and PSAs, and it was, what were the ones?
Nutrition group.
Yeah, brush your teeth and eating all the right food groups.
Because I don't brush. It was all the Schoolhouse Rock.
That's right. Yeah, Schoolhouse Rocks. Like, we were just inundated with kind of like commercials and messages about. That's right. About being healthy. Yes. And I don't know if kids are getting that nowadays. Like, if they hear it maybe from their teacher once. How often do you guys do the My Plate, the whole thing in California, or is it national? It's not the food pyramid anymore. It's My Plate, the nutritional guide. Do you guys talk about that?
We don't. When in 5th grade, we used to do a nutritional unit. That was voluntary though, but our whole grade level did it, but it's not part of the curriculum.
Yeah. See, that's what's missing. Yeah, I remember always learning about that. And maybe it was because our dad was a PE teacher and very into health, so we heard it a little bit more. But I remember it in school for sure, the food pyramid and doing lots of activities around it. And now there's like nothing for it. So we're trying to do that in our garden too. And I think the teachers even get PE credits for doing nutrition with the kids. And so that counts in the garden. The teachers love the garden because they get to check off their list and get PE credits.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge thing. I think that offering food and being excited about it, you know, giving out free oranges from, you know, if you can get Vaughn's to do a little like health fair or something at your school and get the kids excited to eat.
I saw a mouse do
and
it, and the kids were so excited to cut a little cantaloupe and eat it. It was just neat. So maybe just that joy of, you know, getting that instilled in them somehow, they'll take it home to their parents and might help the parents to buy better food, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was part of that was part of our new nutritional unit. Is we always had like a culmination with. We used to go to Stater Brothers because that was our closest store, and Stater Brothers, love Stater Brothers. Big shout out to Stater Brothers. We'd go and to Stater Brothers and say, you know, we have 4 classes, 30 kids each, so we have 120 kids. In 1 month, we're finishing this nutritional unit. Can you guys donate fruit to make a smoothie? And they did. And we went that morning and they gave us like, you know, 6, 8 huge boxes, bananas, strawberries, blueberries, ice, yogurt. Like it was like done and done type of thing. Yeah. And the kids got to cut it up and make smoothies. And they were like, oh my gosh, this tastes so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's natural sugar. Surprise. Yeah.
I've never heard of it. Yeah.
I know.
And just like
it's not quite the same as eating it, but whatever. I didn't tell them that.
No,
I think that's great. Anything that they can see that they recognize as being like fun and cool and tasty that they can take home and get excited about with their parents. I mean, we had kids, you know, running home and telling their parents, I had kale in the garden today. It was so good.
Yeah.
And they even said we could put it on our pizza. Can we get kale on our pizza?
So cool.
The parents are coming to school on Monday like, what are you teaching my kid? They want kale in their pizza or bok choy. Where do I buy bok choy? How do I cook bok choy? What's kohlrabi? Like we're teaching them all these cool vegetables. And we give them seeds and like a little pot. Even if they can start it in their window, if they live in an apartment, they can still start something, grow something.
And that's what I remember. Honestly, my
it.
best memories were growing things and seeing the process of growth. And you feel like it's yours. You feel like you're nurturing something. There were a lot of like deeper benefits of doing that. And then if it's something that you grow into something you can eat, it's a whole new experience. It's lovely.
It's huge. It's great. The kids like run to the garden, and we've even started opening it at recess because we noticed that there were certain kids that kept wanting to come in the garden. They would just stand at the gate and ask, can we come in? No, we're working right now. Oh, okay. And so we started a little recess social club, and there's a lot of kids that don't have a lot of friends or don't know how to play kickball or pick up a ball and do basketball or whatever it is. But they found camaraderie in the garden. So it's almost like we have this little recess social club, and it's the cutest thing. And the kids all come and, you know, they can nerd out on bugs, and they find other nerd bug friends, and they can just have the best time in there. So that's like a huge social benefit. I don't know. Yeah. I'm all about it, Brian. Totally get your school to start it, and I'll bet you'll see changes. I'll bet. And we have kids from all different cultures too, and I'm learning a ton. Like some kids are like, oh yeah, you can pull off the pumpkin blossoms and put them in a taco. Like I never knew that. I'm like, wow. Oh, really? Yeah, my grandma does that all the time. She fries them up and puts them in a taco. They're really good.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And yeah, and awesome. We've done little maps, like where do plants come from? Where in the world did they originate from? And did Columbus bring it over to America? And yeah, there's so many lessons in the garden that you can bring in. So,
and your garden's fenced off? Is that, did I catch that right? Okay.
Yeah.
I could see how that would be a huge benefit. Our garden is not fenced off, but I could see how that'd be a huge benefit.
Yeah, to make it like a garden to plate program too, we had to have it fenced off. You don't want like random dogs coming in from the street and like peeing on the vegetables or something. So it had to meet certain requirements, and we kind of planned it that way. And we put in real like small fencing so that rabbits can't get in there and stuff like that. So
I would imagine that it's like a fundraiser or something. You could probably get one, Brian, right?
Oh, I would imagine
There's
it would
tons
be
of-
too hard to fence it off. Yeah.
Yeah, tons of grants. Companies or grantors, they love starting gardens. There's a ton of grants to start a garden. When you get into the maintenance of a garden, not so many grants. Like, that's harder to find. But in the beginning, if you just can write some grants, people will come out of the woodwork. Everybody wants to put their name on, we started a garden for this school.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So
the pride of, I'm helping
huge.
so-and-so elementary or whatever middle school.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
so cool. This is exciting. I hope it happens at your school.
Yeah, it's really fun. I know. Wait, Brian, can
Yes.
you please advise Weens on dating?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So as a guy who grew up in Orange County, you're not too far from where she is, and she lived in Orange County for a while. And
Seal Beach.
you were married. Yeah, you were married and then now divorced. Now you have a girlfriend. So you've kind of run the gamut. You've been there. What
Oh, yeah.
advice?
I'm a professional.
He's a
But you seem like, a cool, down-to-earth guy, and you take
That's
good
true.
care of yourself. And
You're right.
you
I'm amazing.
He is amazing.
you like all those
Go
good
on.
things.
Feel free to keep adding words to it. Unique. Yeah, you're right. Funny.
I think
Yeah, of
this
course I am.
requires, Brian is amazing. He wants to start grazing on some lettuce in his brand new garden at school. There you go.
Are you serenading me?
It was. It's called Brian is amazing. He likes lettuce.
It's true.
got a ditty.
You
Yeah, you got
forgot some key descriptors, but that's okay.
What are
Handsome,
those?
huge muscles, the things that are obvious, but that's okay. I understand how you could overlook those things.
He's got giant muscles and giant thighs and giant biceps and a giant ego. His name is... No, I'm just kidding. That's so not true. I'm totally kidding. No, I'm kidding. You don't at all. I didn't know what else to say was big. I can't. This is a kid show.
I was just gonna say you're good at not letting things slip, because I would have been like, he's got giant this and he's got a giant shoe.
Don't go there.
Giant hands, giant feet, giant. Whoops! What? My name's Weens. Okay, here we go.
Let's start with this, Weens. How did you get into working in, would you say, is it video production? Are you an AP, or what are you?
I originally, right now I'm doing a lot of location scouting and location work. And then I also do some writing and directing and stuff like that on non-union. But my bigger daily paycheck a lot of times becomes the location job.
Did you go to school for this, or did you just kind of fall into it?
I did. I went to San Francisco City College, and I did a couple classes in film production over at San Francisco State. And then one of the guys who was teaching in our class named Michael Kitchens was working on a hit show named Nash Bridges with Don Johnson. So and Cheech. Don't forget Cheech. So,
That's right.
Yeah, I kind of glommed on to this guy and said, get me a job. And I was very eager and started working on the hit. Did I say it was a hit show? Nash Bridges. And then from there, it was kind of just moved around and did a lot of different TV shows and movies and things like that. So.
Can I brag for a minute, though, please? Because she actually is a very good actress and very pretty and could be a model. And so she went to New York and did her whole thing there, too. So she does have theater training, and she's put on one-woman shows. She's written plays.
Really?
And all sorts of
rock
comedy
opera
stuff. That's right. And just a ton. I mean, you ask and she has done it. So you are a jack of all trades. You're welcome.
The Jill of all
You wear
trades.
many hats on that wiener of yours.
Okay, wait,
Very
what?
stacked up.
That's all right.
So where did the names come from, Mouse and Weens?
I was a little gummy baby. I think I could sit up, but my teeth hadn't come in yet. And my mom was pushing me around in a grocery cart. and, threw some cheddar cheese in there, threw this in there, threw that in there. And I guess she let me hold the cheddar cheese to just gnaw on. And I actually gnawed through the shrink wrap and got into the cheese. So she started calling me Mouse. And then Weens, you want to take it?
I was just like a big sausage when I came out. I was 11 pounds, 9 ounces. And I guess they did the little swaddling of the baby coming home from the hospital. And the parents bonded on the fact that they were laughing that it looked like a big wiener. And so then it was like, it became Weenie Ann, Weens, and then played basketball. They yelled, the Weena! And then, so Weens was the one that just kind of stuck towards the end.
I love
That's
it.
right.
It's so awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That's her.
That's
You
it!
even don't you have a movie credit with that name somewhere?
Yeah, on Girl Boss, a TV show that kind of came and went. Sophia Amoruso, do you know that woman who created her own company?
Yeah.
Called Nasty
you
Gal
sent me her-
Clothing Line, and they did a TV show on her. She was like the saucy kind of punk rock clothing creator who...
She's a big podcaster now, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yep.
I'm credited as
Girl Boss.
Weens on that show.
Tell me why you're single. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Oh, my God. Do you have another 4 hours? Look, we passed our 48-minute mark. Too bad. We'll have to get back to this next time on part 2. He's not going to let up, I could tell. Dead silence.
No, you're very right. I am not going to let you.
Oh, my God. I don't know. Why are some people single? I think I was in a nice, hefty relationship for about 10 years. So I had a nice long one there. So I guess you can call it, even though we weren't married, it was after that, I don't think I quite recovered. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I think I have just had more of the short-term chapters, experiences. With there was an Austrian nihilist in there somewhere. Everything's so stupid. I just repaired bikes and everything's stupid. There was just like experiencing different flavors of men in life.
Well, you were kind of like, trying.
There was a
new
weed
things
dealer
and-
in there somewhere. Yeah, a weed
Are you
dealer.
being
who,
like, are you just being more tolerant of idiots?
I think
out of,
I
like,
probably gave up a
desperation, or
little
what's
for
the
a
deal?
while. I think I just gave up for a while and just kind of, there was a general give up that happened for a few years where, because you put so much effort into the long-term relationship. Like I put everything, or a lot. I'll just say a lot.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And then I think after that, it was just like, I'm not going to, we'll just go through life a little differently for a while. So, but I think I've also, if I'm going to get into something with someone, it's going to be a lot of wise choosing if it's going to be a real thing. I'm going to, you know what I mean?
But
when
why
you've
do
had a rough...
why do you let it stretch on for so long? For example, you had that cool story. You had that cool story about the guitar player and how he would speak in poetry to you, and it sounded like from the jump you were like over his BS, but you put up with it for some reason. And then he talks in poetry again and you're like, yeah, I'm seriously over this. And then, next thing you know, you're like, and then he's got his tongue down my throat.
Oh my God, that never happened. Oh my God. No, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you're right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yes.
I just want to take you up on the hill and serenade you and tell you poetry.
gosh.
You're
Oh
like,
my
it's
God.
so gross. You're like, so anyways, Mouse. Next thing goes to this. He's got his tongue down my throat.
No, that never happened. Well, that happened once, and it happened. It happened.
See?
It happened at the beginning, and then. Okay, so true. You're right. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So, what's the worst dating experience you've had, Brian?
Well,
You get to
can I just interject?
Yes,
I think
please.
that my sister is too nice. She really doesn't want to hurt anybody. So she will
Talk
kinda,
shit on a podcast, but not
No,
to the person.
but you'll entertain the idea. You'll hang out with the person. He'll take it too far. You'll turn him down in a nice way, but then you can't be mean and end it. So you'll just kind of hang out and try to be friends, which is confusing.
Yeah.
And then these poor guys are all just kind of following around with their tongues out.
No.
Waiting for a little piece of meat to be thrown their way.
A piece of ween.
Little piece of
Little
Weens.
wiener slice.
Some wiener.
But little Frank, little Bean. You're so sweet though. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
I don't
and you
know.
want
If
everyone
that's
to.
the case. I mean,
No,
but,
it's true though. I think you want to leave the relationship with people feeling good about themselves. You
well,
would
these
never
are
wanna
not
hurt
like
somebody.
these people who I talk about. They're not like dirtbag, awful people. They're actually good people,
Right.
and
They're sweet people.
And usually the foundation was in someone that I wanted to hang out with as a friend, and then it went to that place, whatever that is, and the tongues that you speak of, and then and then it kind of like fall, and then I'm like, oh, how did that happen? And then it goes back to being friends, and maybe that is confusing, but I don't know how to just cut people off who are nice people that you might still want to be friends with. So, but then there's those
That is
other.
tricky.
Yeah, because maybe, I mean, like flamenco guy is a fun person to play guitar with, and the other, like the horror film guy. Well, I didn't get into the hee-haw boob grab, did I?
No, that's a future episode. We got to get into that one.
Okay. Well, stuff like that. I'm friends with these people that there was just a weird moment when you're watching Hee Haw and they grab your boobs. But, that happens to everybody. So, story for another time.
It happened to me. I've lost
it
count how
hasn't.
many times it's happened to me.
Oh, God. Yeah, see? That's what I'm telling you. Mouse, have you had a little boob grab during Hee Haw?
Yeah, mine usually happens with either the Mandrell sisters or
Roy Orbison?
Lawrence Welk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Roy? Who's the guy? Roy? Okay. Do you know Hee Haw? Did anyone watch that, or was it just us? We kind of had a
That's just
country
you.
flair growing up.
Yeah.
I
Brian?
am with you.
No Hee Haw?
I'm not
with her
aware of
tag
Hee Haw.
hanging out.
Really?
Oh.
Ugh.
Random fact for you, Weens. Love flamenco music. Gypsy Kings are like probably one of my top favorite bands. I love flamenco.
Aren't
That's
they
like my
great?
definite chill music. Oh, it's beautiful music.
There's something about it so passionate, just this raw. Have you heard the real flamenco women just like the and coming from their souls? It's really passionate music. I saw it in Barcelona and saw some people performing out there, just like the real deal, and it just stops you in your tracks. It's compelling.
That's so cool. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I can get the attraction to that.
Yeah.
But it would be weird, how he's just talking in poetry to you. You're like, why do you got to talk like that?
He's kind of a stoner and he's a young kid, but also like of an old
Light your
soul.
doobie, okay? Light your doob, play the guitar, shut your mouth, and we're gonna get along. First off, pass me the doobie.
Yeah.
You play.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you say to this guy? Would you tell him to take a hike, like leave her alone?
I would. Honestly, I don't know that. Okay, this is going to contradict myself. I don't think that men and women can be friends. That said, my best friend is a woman.
Okay, so you must have some
interesting.
feelings, do you?
I don't.
Like, are there-
No, I don't. I don't. And I love her very much. Her name is Echo, and for sure she's listening. But no, Echo and I have never had. I don't know that she's had any attraction to me. But she's just like, she's more of a guy than she is a girl. And I hate to say that, but she's just a badass. Echo's really cool. She's in fact, she was like.
I heard.
Go ahead.
I heard your episode with her. She's the principal, and she's very cool. I really liked her. We would totally be friends.
She's legit. I like to say that I would rather have 4 quarters for friends than 100 pennies. Mm-hmm. 4 quarters means a lot more to me, and I do. She's one of my 4 quarters. I probably only have 4 good friends. The rest are just acquaintances that I could take or leave, and it's
That's
that's
pretty
not
true
important
with
to me.
most people, right? Like your core, you can count on one
I
hand.
think so. I think so. I would hope that people would just have core good friends, and it sounds like you do, Mouse. You're like, as you age, you just find women that it's not catty. It's just these are my people type of thing.
You'll love them no matter what. Yep.
You ladies are so awesome. You obviously love each other so much, and it tells in all your episodes. It's very, very cool.
That's so sweet. We do.
So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much to Mouse and Weens. I had a killer time hanging out with them. No doubt we're going to hook up again. That's the direction that we're heading into now. We're going to hit topics of education, teaching, lifestyle, positive lifestyle choices. And above all, just hanging out with good friends. And Mouse and Weens are becoming great friends of mine. I love their show. I love them as women. They're just awesome. Just good people all around. And those are the kind of people that you have to surround yourself in if you want to be happy. I hope you guys had a great week and that your weekend is exactly what you want. Maybe you're kicking back. Maybe you're getting some stuff done. Whatever it is, I hope you're very productive or relaxed. Make it your weekend. Make it whatever you want it to be. I hope you guys are having a great school year, or your kids, or whatever. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. This is the absolute tail end. I hope you got what you came for. See ya!